All right, the hour of 6:30 having arrived, I'd like to call the regular Columbus Plan Commission meeting to order for September 12th, 2024. Mike, will you call the roll, please?
Traxler, here. Bright, here. Albright.
Here.
I shouldn't have done that. Monday,
Present.
Hajewski,
Here.
Myers, Finkler.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. All right. This meeting was duly posted and noticed as an open meeting in accordance with state law.
Correct.
Agendas are in your packets, commissioners. Take a moment to review, and I'll entertain a motion to approve as written or a motion to amend.
I'll move to approve.
Oh.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? All right, the agenda as printed will be our working agenda. There are also minutes in your packet from last meeting. Please review, and I'll entertain a motion to approve as written or a motion to amend.
I'll move to approve.
Albright can second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we've approved the minutes. All right, moving on our agenda, we have 3 separate public hearings tonight. They're listed in the order that we will take up their corresponding items of business later in the agenda. So we're going to start by opening a public hearing for the repeal of zoning code section 114-10 parentheses 13 and 114-145 through 114-155 and amend and relocate it to chapter 47 of the city code. Are there any members of the audience wishing to speak on this topic? Members of the public, I should say.
Anyone else? Last call? Okay.
Okay. Were there any, anything that came in via email or phone?
Nothing
that you wanted
via
to read into
phone
the
or
record?
email.
All right. All right. I'll ask, again, are there any members of the public that wish to speak on this topic? And for the final time, any members of the public wishing to be heard on the repeal of the zoning code sections listed in the agenda? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing listed as item 2 on the agenda. Moving on to item 3, I'll open the public hearing for a zoning map amendment requesting a change of zoning for Lot 46 of Highland Ridge from rural development to residential R3 and residential R4 zoning. Anybody signed up
We have no
to
one
speak on
signed
that
up for that.
matter? Okay. All right. And again, nothing from email or phone
No.
to read into the record? Okay. All right. Again, anyone wishing to speak on the zoning map amendment on Lot 46 of Highland Ridge? And for a third and final time,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Is there a reason that we're leaving the farmhouse?
We will also discuss the matter as a commission after the public gets a chance, so.
Uriah, I'm Ron Kloss with D'Onofrio,
Yep.
representing the developer of this, but I did not sign up for the public hearing and thought we could talk about it during the discussion.
Yeah, you will also get an opportunity there. In fact, if there was any member of the public here, I'd have you introduce it for the public so that they could hear, but seeing none. So if you're good with that, we're good with that. Okay. All right. I lost count, but I think it's the third and final time. any member of the public wishing to speak on the zoning map amendment for Lot 46 of Highland Ridge?
I have one note.
Go ahead, Mike.
For the next public hearing here. It was noticed for 6:40, so technically, we should delay that public hearing till at least that time.
All right,
So that doesn't, so we could go on to discuss the other items and go back to that.
very good. Okay,
We could discuss the erosion control first and later on in the agenda.
okay,
We weren't expecting to go through these that quickly.
okay. All right, we've fulfilled our obligation for asking for public comment on number 3, so I will close the public comment, or the public hearing for item 3 on your agendas. As Mike noted, item 4 was scheduled for 6:40. We haven't reached that time, so I would propose, commissioners, that we move to number 5, take that up, and then return to number 4. Any discussion about that? Okay. We'll treat that as a informality. All right, item 5 under new business is to consider and take action regarding the repeal of the zoning code sections 114-10, parentheses 13, and 114-145 through 114-155, which is the erosion control section of the zoning code, and amending it and relocating it to chapter 47 of the city code. Mike, will you introduce this?
Sure. We have some additions, revisions to this, but a lot of it is really the kind of bigger purpose on this is why we're having the public hearing is the proper location for the erosion control ordinance is outside the zoning ordinance. So to remove something from chapter 114, we have to have a public hearing and have that discussion. I think for the most part, the rest of the erosion control ordinance, there's some updates regarding creating a permit for this, a separate permit, and some of the processes on that. Jason Letha is here if he has more to comment on that, if you want to hear more about that. But it pretty much is a minor update or smaller updates.
Sorry, good evening, Plan Commission members. I was not prepared to talk about this, so, but I know quite a bit about it. So we are taking this erosion control ordinance out of two current sections, chapter 90 and 114. The idea here is that it was duplicated and in some essence wasn't exactly the same, so it's not really duplicated. So we're going to clean that up. A couple other things that are the highlights here. Mike had mentioned it. We are going to be adding a permit standalone. In the past, erosion control was typically handled either the approval of subdivision plans and or a building permit for smaller lots. That became problematic when the building inspector was not with the understanding that they were enforcing the erosion control in some cases and or the city Public Works or myself thought that they were handling it. So there was some confusion in that. So we're gonna create a standalone permit, which will be administered through the Department of Public Works for erosion control. The other change to this is we've used the model ordinance for the DNR, which is kind of a good starting point to make sure that we kind of have a comprehensive ordinance that is similar to other communities and the DNR's expectations out of their erosion control requirements. As a result of that, the one thing that we did introduce into this that is a little different is we made some of the erosion control a little bit more restrictive from a site perspective. Typically, sites that would have a certain amount of disturbance or less would not need any permit. Obviously, due to all of our stormwater issues that have been going on in the city and kind of the focus of the city to kind of correct or better the erosion control and stormwater, we've felt that we've lowered this threshold, but we've put kind of two tiers in the code now. One is if you're below 10,000 square feet of disturbance, you have a certain requirement to permit and report out. So that might catch, larger housing projects. It might catch smaller commercial projects. which is not as restrictive, but will still require them to have a permit, just so we have that documented and logged, because ironically, most of the calls that I get are on small sites because they're not regulated like the larger sites are. And then as you get to an increased area of disturbance, we've had a more restrictive erosion control program in place that more mimics or follows the state requirements as far as best practices and things that need to be done. So I think it's a vast improvement. I think this was long overdue for the city. So I was kind of pleased that this was kind of the action to get this out of the building inspection, to get it very clear to people coming in that are asking, what do I need? What do I need to fill out? What ordinance do I need to follow? That's always been a little vague. So I think right now the code before you, at least as proposed, addresses a lot of those historical issues that, I think we've struggled with as a city to say, well, is it in Code 90? Are we following that? Is it in Code 114? Are we following that? How are we doing that? And then how are we permitting that? So it's not uncommon. Most municipalities do have updated codes with permit requirements and these same type of things. So I think we're just getting to where we need to be here in Columbus after years of, I think, kind of muddling through this, and having it as its own section or code, I think really makes a lot of sense, because then it's applicable across all different types of, I guess, constructions that are allowed in the city. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, I can dive into it. I don't have the code in front of me tonight, but if you have questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
I have a quick question, Jason. I guess when I read this, I thought in summary, there's kind of three tiers, right? There's sites under 1,000 square feet of grading that don't need to meet this requirement. There's sites between 1,000 and 10,000 that have what I would call more sort of formulaic, do this and self-report. And then the ones over 10,000, like you were explaining, are a little more involved. So just kind of break it down into the three tiers. And to give a sense of scale, right, if you would put in a driveway that's generally under the threshold, your regular sort of city lot driveway would be under the threshold, but single-family home building site would be over the 1,000 but under the 10,000. And then, so just kind of give a sense of scale what the way we're categorizing items. And then was that sort of segmenting out, how much language in here is in addition to the model ordinance from the state?
Not a lot. I mean, I would say maybe 80 to 90% of this ordinance written is the model ordinance, but, the segmenting out was a little bit of what we did. The model ordinance just, basically the DNR looks at a disturbance over an acre, under an acre. So, I mean, that's a pretty big threshold. So we're losing a lot of construction that we aren't required to permit or isn't required to have erosion control for currently. And so that's kind of how we tiered this down. If somebody's going to be putting in a pad in their backyard for a lawn shed, or to Uriah's point, a driveway, those are things we don't want to permit. They're not a big enough disturbance. We're not going to have runoff to be meaningful to get sediment in our storm sewers and fill them up and do all that stuff. And so again, these thresholds were just kind of set based off of exactly what Uriah said. Let's realistically think about the practical applications, like what type of things would trigger these tiers. And again, having a permit required for at least the smaller tier that's, required to have erosion control, just so it's logged somewhere, right? Just so we have evidence that somebody's doing this, an event that, if there is an issue, we have a permit for it and we've reviewed it and know that they've at least acknowledged or complying with the ordinance. So again, I think that was a good summary of how we've kind of broke that down. So the tier factor was something that we kind of added on top of the model ordinance that was different, because they have they have two tiers, and we went to three and brought the threshold down a little bit.
What are the DNR tiers?
Under an acre and over an acre. Under an acre, you don't need that requirement, and over an acre you do, but they don't require, and again, that's with permitting as well. They will require its own permit. So if we're over an acre, so if those 1,000 to 10,000 square foot disturbances that will require a permit for will not require a state permit. But if they're over an acre, then they'll require a state permit as well. So they'll have to have a local permit and a state permit.
In the action today, what we're needing to do, the big thing is regarding the public hearing, is to move this and relocate it out. This still will likely go to, I believe this is gonna go to Cow before it goes to council, because because this is a ordinance.
Any other questions about sort of the structure of it or even content? Okay. No, I think it's valuable to not have that gap in coverage, or sometimes just as bad, right? Two people from city government like doing the same thing, so good. I appreciate this. All right. So our action item would be to, if we cared to do this tonight, right, would be to recommend this ordinance to council, either as written or with amendments. Is that correct, Mike?
At the bottom of your staff report, that could be made into a motion if you like. That emphasizes the repealing of the section 114, the sections of 114, and then moving them, relocating them to chapter 47.
So we are looking for motion to send it to council.
Yes.
I move to send it to council.
As written.
Albright will second that.
So what I'm hearing is a motion to forward to council, basically with the action recommended by staff. So motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, forwarded to council. All right, we're going to move back up the agenda and open the public hearing under item number 4 for the conditional use permit for outdoor storage at 115 Commercial Drive. Anybody signed in for this one, Mike?
There is no one signed in for this, I believe.
And then, anything in written correspondence you want to
No
read
writ-
into the record?
No written correspondence.
None? All right. I'll ask again, is there any member of the public that wishes to be heard on the conditional use permit for outdoor storage at 115 Commercial? And a third and final ask, any member of the public that wishes to be heard on the conditional use permit at 115 Commercial Drive? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing for item 4 on the agenda at 115 Commercial. All right, moving back down to item 6, which is consider and take action on the zoning map amendment request for Lot 46 of Highland Ridge from rural development to residential R3 and residential R4. So, Mike, will you please introduce this? And then, well, this is the zoning part. I think as far as the plat goes, we'll have you talk a little more about that then. And Jason, do you have any, we'll include you on that too. So,
Right.
Zoning, please.
Yeah, the Lot 46 of the Highland Ridge, currently zoned rural development. It's a little over 7 acres. It's surrounded by a variety of zoning. There's R1 zoning to the north and west. There's institutional zoning to the east, where Faith, the church is. And then across the street is multifamily zoning, as shown in the map on the screen there. And I apologize, the colors are very much different than on my screen up there. But we've also labeled the multifamily areas up there. So the comprehensive plan, this rezone application is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. The future land use map recommends single-family, or the future land uses of single-family. The other areas of the comprehensive plan talk about locating multifamily along arterial highways, and providing multifamily developments along there. So the proposal for the rezoning is to convert this to both R3 and R4. R4 is our multifamily zoning over here, and the R3 is similar to R1 in that, but that it allows smaller lots than in R1. You can also do a conditional, for a two-family home, you can do it via conditional use permit, but you can't do multifamily in a R3 zoning district. And I'm I'm jumping ahead here a little bit to show the plat on a future agenda item, but I think it'll clarify where the R3 and the R4 is going to be located. 1 second here. So this is the multifamily lot right here, lot 1, and that is proposed to be R4, and lots 2 through 18 that come around here it's requested to be R3. And again, the big difference is the R3 protects all these properties from being potentially in the future developed as multifamily. It requires, it'll remain single family. Someone could do a duplex if they had enough land. That's, you need 14,000 square feet to do a duplex. But that would be a conditional use permit and a public hearing, those kinds of things. But so it's R3 and R4 for the lot. Is that clear,
So,
Ron?
yeah, having that R3 in there essentially provides for some transitional zoning between the single-family in the Highland Ridge subdivision that's behind and to the north. Kind of keeps a transitional buffer between that and the multifamily. Any questions?
R3 is single-family homes.
Yep.
Yep.
So, R3 is single-family homes. R4 is the apartment complex.
Multifamily, yeah.
So there's no duplexes going in under this zoning idea.
We're probably jumping ahead, but it sounds like the plan is to have single-family homes on the R3 lots and a multifamily building on the R4. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but the R3, you can build a single-family home without any special permission. A duplex could be built if it's of appropriate size and a conditional use.
Correct.
On R3, you couldn't build a multifamily building. On the R4, you could build
Yes.
anything, including a multi.
So are any of the lots that are being proposed eligible to be duplexes?
All of the ones shown as the smaller lots would be eligible as a duplex if they
Would
came
meet-
here for a conditional use and if they were large enough, which I think you'd probably have to combine a couple.
Right,
to be
you'd probably
large
have to
enough.
buy an extra lot. You'd
So
have to buy two
we're gonna
lots
jump
next to
ahead a
each other.
little bit here,
Okay.
if you don't mind, but like I'm zooming in here. The lots on the back edge here, am I reading that right? 8,750? So you would need to combine two of these lots to make one duplex, because you need 14,000 square feet. Over here, the lots are a little bit smaller on the east end. Those are 7,500, so again, you'd have to combine two lots to create a duplex in that R3. But that's not the plan. Also, one thing to keep in mind, the city's development agreement with the developer is that there be about 16 single-family homes and up to 39 to 42 multifamily units. So that development agreement carries a lot of weight in this whole process.
Did that answer your question?
It did.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to, this is also a forward to council for approval, or is the action here?
It's to the council for
Okay.
approval.
I'll move to send for approval to council.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to forward to council the zoning as proposed. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Forward to council. All right. Item 7. So related, consider and take action regarding the Cardinal Heights preliminary plat. So just for clarity, Cardinal Heights is the name of the proposed subdivision. When we say Lot 46, that was the large lot, because it was platted as part of a previous subdivision. So Lot 46 is becoming the Cardinal Heights subdivision as proposed. So, Mike, you want to introduce?
Sure. Again, I want to highlight that development agreement, which is about 16 single-family homes and 39 to 42 apartment units. And so we worked with the developer, meeting in advance, and the submittal came through. And we talked about a number of issues. Rupert Milkey, Jason Leith, our city engineer, did a review and included the review letter that's in here. Some of the things in there have we've received or have been updated since this letter was written. A number of the areas here, one of the things that we discussed at staff, and Jason mentioned it in his review letter, is the existing driveway of the farmhouse. And that currently accesses Park Avenue. The applicant is requesting that driveway remain as part of the plat. Staff recommendation from the city engineer was to connect the driveway for the farmhouse to the end of the cul-de-sac to the north. Some other staff considerations for moving that driveway was to reduce confusion for the public of where the access for the apartment building would be. But I'm sure Ron, representing the applicant, can talk to that from his perspective. But that was one of the main issues there. Another issue that I was hoping to hear resolved today, down in this area here, there's as part of the Highland Ridge plat, there's a 50-foot DOT setback. The applicant is requesting to reduce that setback. A state DOT committee was supposed to meet today and report back to me, and I did not hear from them. But that setback, and I can zoom in a little bit here, impacts Lot 18. I think the measurements, if it was down to 25 feet, that might do the trick to make that lot a viable, developable lot. So that was an issue. And then also noted in the review letter was the sanitary sewer is coming from the church property over here, and it's kind of off here. The sanitary sewer is crossing Park Avenue and then going like this, and we would like to see an easement to communicate that that's where that's coming from, off the plat to serve that. Jason's here, and he can also provide any comments if he has any.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I think you did a great job of summarizing it, and I just wanted to point out that this is the preliminary plat before you tonight. So this is the first step of bringing the final plat back. So there's some information here that's more detailed, that kind of gets us conceptually where this is going, so we can kind of consider as we move this forward to the final plat, which will have the final, I guess, details to the plat on. What also is part of, and I don't know what you guys had in your packet, honestly, was there was also a concept design development plan for the roadways and the utilities that we reviewed as part of this as well. And so when we review this, we kind of review it holistically, right? Around the zoning, we review it around that conceptual design plan and this conceptual plat to get what you have before you tonight. So I think from my perspective, this was a very well drawn up preliminary plat. The applicant came in and talked to us. Ron was gracious enough to sit through a couple meetings with staff. It does coincide with the requirements of the development agreement very well, as, to the point that, there's some minor things that probably vary on this, but as far as compliance, it really was in good shape as far as I'm concerned. So I didn't have any real concerns about this. I know the driveway issue was something that we kind of differed on from what the applicant was looking to do. That still has to be vetted. The setback still has to be vetted. But those are all things that, as we move into this final plat, can be addressed and dealt with, either from yourself or from the council's perspective, or even from the applicant's perspective to work through. So there's no showstoppers here to me. I was pretty pleased to see this come together as well as I thought it did for you guys. So I'm happy to answer questions, but I just want to kind of let you know the process that I went through here to kind of get this to you guys and what's kind of coming next, so.
Ron, was there anything that you wanted to say that these guys didn't cover?
They did a very good job summarizing. I will address real quickly.
Go up there and turn on the, like, the button with the little head.
Okay.
Oh, David's got it for you already.
All right.
Like-
Mike is
Yeah,
on.
Don't say, or don't touch anything, just say your name. There you go.
Ron Kloss. I'm an engineer with D'Onofrio, Kotkin Associates. So we're providing the civil engineering and land surveying for this project. And Mike touched on the sewer. The nearest sewer is across the street here. You probably, the laser pointer won't even work. It's across, on the other side of Park Avenue. We're going to connect there, run it across the street onto the church property, and then into our site. And we've talked to, had communication with Henry at the church. They're open to this, and the applicant's attorney is drawing up an easement. So I think we're in good shape there. The existing driveway to the stone house, I wanted to talk to the Plan Commission about that. It's not in great shape. It would have to be redone if we leave it there. But if I can get into engineering a little bit, these lots slope this way. And I don't want to have these lots sit way above the road. People don't like that. They want their lot to be fairly level to the road. They drain better. So we want to build that cul-de-sac up so that these lots work well. What that does is leaves the stone house well below the cul-de-sac. So from an engineering standpoint, that driveway ends up really steep, not a great situation. Whereas if we leave it here, it's nice and flat. So that's what I wanted to bring to the Plan Commission and see what you guys thought. There are existing trees, as can be seen, along that driveway. Those would stay, provide nice separation from the multifamily building that's going to go up there on Lot 1. So as Jason said, a few things to work out there, which I'm confident we can do, but thought we should get feedback tonight from you folks on that driveway.
We can talk about that, but I think first I'd like to ask, are there any other items that we should sort of put a running list down on? Any other features people want to talk about so we can kind of know what our agenda is and knock them off one by one?
Again, I want to ask the question about the farmhouse. I mean, it's in total disrepair. It would require a ton of money to fix it back up to be lookable, for anybody to even look at it or tour it as a historical site. So my question is, why are we including that in this project?
Ron, your thoughts?
Well, I was not involved in the negotiations with the developer, but the development agreement that I have says the stone farmhouse shall remain. So that's why we platted it this way. So maybe there's more information in the room about why the city wanted to keep it.
Sure. I guess I was unaware it was baked into the developer's.
I
agreement.
could
Go ahead.
answer that. I was on council, and the reason why this house is staying where it is or on the property is because that's what the community wanted. The community was upset about the development in the first place, and one of the primary reasons for that was because they didn't want to see the house demolished or whatever. So that's why. And Lamb's Landing was willing to put the house into the development.
I would just like to say also, in addition to the reason that Shelley mentioned, Lamps Landing, my conversations and all this with Lamps Landing, Josh wanted to save it, wanted to restore it and have it part of the development. That's something he wanted as
Right.
the
He's
purchaser.
also was born and raised here. So he grew up in Columbus, and the family has been in Columbus for a number of years.
So is the intention to bring it up to speed code-wise and make it an attractive building?
My understanding is that's gonna probably be the last part of the development, and yes, it was gonna be updated to be used as some kind of residence. It's been months since I saw the proposal, but yes, that was the intent.
And other than the preservation of it through the developer's agreement and this plat, I think sort of the future is somewhat open. But
Yeah, the ultimate level of restoration is up to Lamps Landing, and where that goes. So,
okay. Anything else apart from the the driveway location issue? I've got some stuff related to the some questions related to the multifamily lot, but we can tackle the driveway issue. So I guess to summarize, one idea is to leave the driveway accessing Highway 73, leave it as is, because grading would be a difficult proposition. And I understand where you're coming from there. Unless you slope that cul-de-sac pretty sharply, you won't come down to meet the grade. It might be a different story if if there wasn't an existing garage there, or the house were further away from the cul-de-sac where you'd have some space to make up on a grading plan. But otherwise, I'm following what you're saying about the steep driveway off the cul-de-sac. Is everybody else
Yep.
kind of envisioning the same thing? With regard to the confusion of the public perhaps as an entrance to the multifamily lot, I guess that seems possible, but it also seems possible that if it becomes an issue over time, sort of, I hate to use the word experiment, but if it becomes an issue over time, then the owner of the building still has that opportunity to try to figure something out with an access to the cul-de-sac. I mean, that's probably not impossible once the grading happens. And I guess maybe I'll make the ask right now, if you can continue to think about that aspect as you're developing a more precise grading plan. You know, do keep that in mind, because I don't want to speak for all of you guys, but I would guess that all three of you are on board with the idea of having, like, it's more ideal to have it come off a cul-de-sac, and we're just constrained by site limitations in this case. And as you work through the process, maybe you can find a way around that constraint. Anyway, that's my personal thoughts on it. Other comments or thoughts?
I would, being that that's Highway 73, you can take a driveway off of it, but if you were to try to add one again, you'd have to go through the state to get a permit to put a new driveway in, correct?
I think there's an
It's-
access,
It's a connecting highway. That section became a connecting highway in January. So the access points for that lie with the city. If you look at the preliminary plat right now, it shows, we may not, Lot 2 is supposed to have access, but you may have to,
Got it. I would think,
yeah, there's some, it allows access for that driveway, but does not allow access on other parts of Lot 2.
it's locally controlled.
It's locally
Got it. It's local,
controlled.
okay.
That's-
That's,
Since January.
even with that, it seems to me it makes more sense, because that's a larger home on a nice sized lot. I would think it would be more marketable with the opportunity to have its own driveway. I think that'd be more beneficial for the future owners of the home. And if it's a problem, they could always in the future consider hooking it up to the cul-de-sac in the back. But I would think that if there was really a problem with occasional people turning into the wrong driveway, just put up a sign that says private drive.
I mean, it's been a driveway for how long now? It's not like we're all of a
Decades.
sudden, right, it's not like we're all of a sudden popping up a driveway just randomly.
Yeah, I think between the size of the driveways and the proximity
It's
to the
pretty
apartments, I
distinct.
think it'll be pretty obvious to most people.
Yeah.
There's some landscaping too that adds to that.
Isn't there a big row of trees there as well? Yeah.
Yeah. And I would, speaking your point a little bit, Steve, right? If it turns out in the end that that building is not going to be on the landscape well into the future, and at some point in time, it's just not viable, and it becomes other lots, is there a way that we can write that access point basically is only allowed as long as that building stands?
I think the plat's written, or the way it's usually done, it's attached to the lot access, not the structure. I think Jason would agree with me on that. So it would, so I think that's a more challenging thing. I think one of the things in this, I think you guys kind of tied to it. If things change on the lot, and let's say the building goes away or something like that, or whatever, I think people will adapt and make the choice that makes sense for the issues at hand at the time that may come to light. So I think sometimes you just have to kind of just trust that, hey, whoever has an interest in this property at some point is going to make a good decision on where the access should be if there are unforeseen issues with the access. So I think it's beneficial, keeping that access point there. And if someone in the future decides, hey, I want to build another garage and run the driveway up to the cul-de-sac, they can do that and remove the driveway to Park Avenue, and it's all good.
Any other discussion on that? Oh,
I think he was first.
I just had a point, I'm getting back to, when you come in on 73 off the 151, the first thing you see coming in on your left is the first subdivision, and then you hit the farmhouse. And we're gonna put in all this property, and it's gonna look beautiful, I'm sure. I don't see anybody putting any legitimate money into that farmhouse, because it's not really a historical site. I don't know if it's been treated that way or not.
I don't think this is a topic of conversation for this meeting, and
No.
though this is.
'Cause I'd
you know,
like to see
We're
the-
talking about the plat, not the development plan, and,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, there's.
Maybe I'm putting the
what you're
cart
saying
before
is
the horse
important,
here.
but.
Okay. Because the mansion has been up for sale for so long, and that would be the focus of our city.
Yeah, I guess, right, we're constrained here with the
The de-
developer's agreement and the way it's laid
Okay.
out.
I'm overstepping,
we can-
sorry about
you're-
that.
You're good.
We
I
can
just-
appreciate the comments. and-
My one quick question. It currently has two driveways. They have the one to the house and then one to the barns. It looks like that other driveway is still on here, but just the entryway of it on that map. I didn't know if that was intentional, you're gonna leave that opening and then just have it go to grass, or if that was just needs to
I'm
be
gonna,
scribbled out. It's just really hard to,
I'm gonna zoom in.
I'm trying to do it on my phone too,
Yeah,
zooming in, so.
I'm gonna try to zoom in here, because this is something where you need a really large, these hashings, see, are you able to see that
Yeah.
on the screen there?
No, but I see hashings on my phone here.
Yeah, these
see it.
hashings, diagonal hashings here, represent no access.
Okay.
So you'll see go across hashings, then the farmhouse driveway, no hashings, and then hashings again.
But there's
So-
there's nothing on, there's still an opening showing though. And the, what's the first part of the driveway called? I've forgotten. now.
The apron.
The apron,
The apron, it shows the apron there still.
Yeah. Now, the plan would be obviously to remove that driveway in its entirety, because that does access the multifamily lot, which we will not allow access onto 73 for. So that will, ultimately, that access will be lost with the plat restricting that in the future for that lot.
Okay.
And so that will be removed and restored back to normal terrace, Andy, when
Okay,
we get to
thank
that
you.
point. Yep.
Yep.
Any other discussion on the driveway?
Well, I'll just
Okay.
add that I would be in favor of keeping that driveway. Just as a,
Yeah.
yeah, because the other options are just, the other option is a little steep, so.
Right. You had mentioned, so moving on maybe to the topic I had, there's this setback issue with the DOT. Give me a sense of how foregone a conclusion that is. Do we need to worry about a contingency plan if that doesn't go through?
The last correspondence I had seen from the DOT, they had said that it was highly unlikely they would remove it in its entirety, but they would definitely consider reducing it. The decision did not lie with DOT staff, but their recommendation to the committee that met today was to reduce it. And so I would suspect that based off of staff recommendation to the committee, they would probably follow that. So I don't know the answer to that just yet, but I would suspect we would see a variance in the reduction of that easement or that setback for the DOT highway from the previous setback that was documented in the old plat. So I guess wait and see, but I don't see that being an issue to make this work with what you have in front of you. It'll just be updated with the next draft that comes through.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean,
Yeah.
we're at preliminary plat stage, it'll have to get
When you
worked
see it on
out
the
if it
final
doesn't-
plat, if they
doesn't
approve it,
go
it'll
on.
be
Yeah,
25
alright.
feet or whatever the state determines that to be, so.
Right. And the normal side setback for a corner lot is 25 anyway, is that correct? So, I mean, it's basically
sense.
lining up with any other corner lot on any other city street, is what the proposal is, right? Okay. Okay. And I had a question about the multifamily lot, unless anybody's got anything. Okay. Remind me, I know the developer's agreement mentions a certain number of units. Is the number of units allowed on a multifamily lot a function of the lot size? In other words, is there a ratio of number of units to lot size, or is it only constrained by the amount of impervious area put on the lot? I see Jason nodding.
It's limited by the height restriction on the lot, the amount of impervious surface on the lot, and the amount of building coverage on the lot. So it's a combination of
Okay.
all those factors.
Okay, so depending on the size and number of bedrooms, or, you know, whatever of the
The footprint of
units-
the building.
Yeah, okay, all right,
So, you know, you can gain a lot of units by going vertical and.
right, up to your
and-
height
and-
restriction.
and- Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
okay.
and still reduce your impervious surface.
Okay. That's it for me.
So are we looking to send this to council too?
I'll move to send this to council also for review and approval.
It's all rolling.
Do we need to have something in our motion mentioning the driveway, or is that conversation recorded?
I think if the driveway is already shown, so we
Okay.
can approve this or recommend approval as shown.
You're
Right. I
With
would.
the request from, do we have to add that in?
Yeah, so our review letter says take it out. So if you're gonna approve this,
Oh, okay.
if you're gonna recommend this to council based on the staff review comments, I probably would note that one of the items that you would exempt from the review letter would be the driveway. Then it's clear to council that you're recommending the staff comments minus the driveway. So when it gets to that body, then it's clear as to what's going on with the driveway as far as what you're recommending. I think that would be probably just good
And
practice.
maybe note the DOT setback piece, no?
We'll work through that. I think right now the driveway is the only change from the letter. The setback is in the letter, so we'll resolve that. So
Okay.
that would be my recommendation.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to move this to council for review and approval with staff notes, with the removal of the, which number is it? Which one is it for the,
So it's under other, number 4, and it's
Thank you.
it's kind of embedded. So
Do you want to modify the language that
Okay.
was on here?
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a little vague.
yeah.
Engineering
So I, let me try
you
that
could say
again.
excluding lot 2 instead of including lot 2.
Okay.
That'd be a quick change.
Okay, with the modification of under other number 4, excluding lot 2, not including lot 2.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Please forward to council. Thanks, Ron. Okay, moving on to item 8, consider and take action regarding conditional use permit for outdoor storage at 115 Commercial Drive. Mike.
Yes, this is, Lyco Manufacturing is requesting outdoor storage on their lot. Their proposal includes fencing with privacy slats that meets the intent of our ordinance and shields the outdoor storage from public view. There's conditions listed in the staff report for the conditional use. And those are recommended.
Mike, would you bring your highlighted site plan up?
Okay, hang on. So it was a little hard to see, so I added some yellow in there. So there's privacy fencing along these sides. And with the new driveway, this layout allows for the internal access, internal flow on the lot.
Does anybody have any questions about the layout here? Not the layout.
The question is about the outdoor storage. Are there any limitations that we need to be concerned about with what can be stored outside? Hazardous chemicals, things like that?
If it was hazardous chemicals, that would need to be included as a condition.
I mean, did they say what they would be storing, what kind of items?
He left.
Oh,
Yes, we're waiting.
well, you'll have that.
In my discussions with them, there's nothing hazardous in our discussions about it. It's more about their operations, tied to their operations.
I like the various conditions that you had written, Mike. I think I had a couple notes about some more precise language on it. For some reason, I can't find the list in my packet here.
Right here.
Thanks.
I'll bring it
cheat.
up on the screen.
All right.
Here.
I thought it would. It's not coming up. It shows it's there. It's taking up 3 megabytes of memory.
Yeah. So the conditions that you had recommended said, number 1, site plan must be followed. Number 2, fence height not to exceed 8 feet. Number 3, chain link fence must contain privacy slats. Number 4, outdoor storage must stay within the fenced area and not exceed height of fence. Number 5, any major changes will require an amendment to the CUP. Number 5 saying major, like that's always seems to be open to interpretation. Was your intent there to say any changes to the fenced-in perimeter or the size of the outdoor storage location?
That would be good
Outdoor
wording.
storage
That would be
area.
good wording,
Okay.
more precise.
And then,
And what, can you repeat that one more time?
sure.
What-
So in lieu of number 5, any changes to the size of the outdoor concrete storage pad or the extent of the fencing?
I like that better.
Because we're really making a conditional use out of that particular
Right.
use, not the site plan as a whole.
Right.
And then, so the fence is kind of, it only encloses on 3 sides. So I wondered, outdoor storage must stay within the fenced area. Again, we kind of mean that concrete pad that's shown on the
Right.
site plan. So I'd amend
Right.
number 4 to read that way.
I like that.
That's why Uriah can never not be on the planning commission.
Big bucks.
You're here forever.
I'm working on cloning myself in my basement right now.
I would not be surprised.
Any other comments?
No, I don't.
So you're right, how would you want number 4? Could you just, like,
Oh,
on the concrete pad within the fenced area?
Yes, yeah, we can have it that way.
You must
So,
stay on the concrete pad within the fenced-in area.
right,
Okay.
right. Because with a 3-sided fence, it's like, well, where am I staying inside?
Yeah, okay.
So are we looking to, do we approve this or do we send it to council?
Send it to council.
Okay.
I'll move to approve sending this to council with the recommendations, or for the conditions as recommended with the updates as discussed.
I can second that.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Forward to council.
Okay.
Moving on to item 9, any requests for future agenda items? Mike, is that an ask of us to you, or is that, do you have a list of things you'd like
It's
to
an ask
suggest?
of you, but also I can make a comment. We do have, as previously discussed, the grass height thing. There will be a request probably coming, development requesting a parking reduction at the next meeting. And I think possibly the final plat, was that the schedule, I think? Final plat for Cardinal Heights would come at the next Plan Commission meeting. So all the stuff that we discussed will hopefully get worked out by that time. And so those are some of the things there that we're looking at. And there could be some other code requirements. So we continue to talk about code internally, including revising the entire zoning code. And I'll just say briefly that likely, if it's a staff-driven process, it's probably to deal with everything going on beyond zoning, it's probably a 3-year project. If we hire a consultant, it's probably a 1-year project, and it gets done. So with that, we continue to work on all the various code issues, and there's a lot of them. A lot of this code goes back to 1978, so.
Well, I go back longer than that, so don't get rid of me. Anybody else? Any items? Jason?
I'll throw one thing in here. Just want to foreshadow a little bit. As much as appreciated the support on the erosion control ordinance changes tonight, we're also neck deep in updating the stormwater ordinance. And I don't want to get Uriah too excited, but we will be bringing that back for the very same reason, as that's embedded in multiple codes as well. So we'll be pulling it out of 11490, consolidating that, likely be chapter 48. And that'll be a standalone section. So, and much like what we're doing now is introducing a permit, we'll be doing the same thing for the stormwater. We'll be introducing a stormwater permit, which we've never had. And then obviously we'll be updating based off of model ordinance from the DNR, some uniqueness to the city of Columbus as well. So that's kind of in staff level right now. Attorneys had a peek at it. We've done some formatting, but it's a little lagging behind the erosion control because it's a little more complex. We want to make sure that we get that right. So I just wanted to get that on the radar. I don't know when that gets in front of you guys, but my goal was to kind of have that wrapped up maybe year end. So in the next few months, we'd like to get it through here and then back out to council for consideration. So again, that'll be coming as well. So just wanted to throw that in there. I know Mike kind of had the umbrella of catch-all ordinances, but that's kind of a biggie that we've been really concentrating on trying to get wrapped up, so.
Jason, can I ask a quick question? Stormwater permit, is that the same thing as like an impact fee?
No, this is the actual permit. If you're going to be doing work that requires stormwater best management practice on your site, you will need to have an application filed with the city with a site plan so we can review it and approve it. A lot of those come in now, but we don't actually have a permit that's required for it. One of the things the permit allows us to do is to do that tracking a little easier, and it also allows us to recapture some fee for expenses for the review and integration of, permits that come in. But it also kind of helps us just kind of gather some fee that, we can use administratively to make improvements too. So that's kind of, as the site gets bigger, the fee will nominally increase with that, and it'll be like a base charge. So it's pretty standard in most communities, and we just don't have it set up here. We never really have. But I feel like we're kind of on that cusp of seeing development occur. And not to get too far into this tonight, but one of the things that we've seen when we did our comprehensive stormwater study for the city is we just have a lot of applicants that come in that are developing sites that are 0.99 acres in size, because 1 acre triggers the threshold for stormwater requirements. And it's really been frustrating as a staff member and as an engineer to say, I can't do anything, my hands are tied. They don't have any requirements right now in the current ordinance. So we're going to do what we did. We'll tier it down and structure it in a way where you're not necessarily penalized for having a smaller threshold, but you will be required to follow the ordinances. So, but yeah, that's what the permit will do, and that's what the ordinance will do kind of going forward. So we're kind of hoping to close a few what I would call loopholes that that exist today. So, thank you.
Others? If not, I'll entertain the motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.